Hello everybody, welcome to another Hustle and Hoops team breakdown. Now today we're going to be talking about the Orlando Magic. Let's just jump right into it with their big four. You got Paolo Banchero, the rookie, the number one overall pick. That guy, he's going to drive right through you and also give you a little bit of the Hazel Mellow Jello favorite color yellow. Then you got Franz Wagner, the guy we're going to be talking about later today. Just an all-around beast on the floor, can do practically anything. Then you got Wendell Carter Jr., ex-Bull, possibly the mold of centers that we're expecting to see teams look for when drafting. And then you got Markelle Fultz, the lead guard. That guy, again, I have to say, just so fucking happy for Markelle Fultz. So happy for Markelle Fultz. But the Magic are 22-32. They're 25th in offensive rating at 111.6. They're 21st in defensive rating at 114.5. 17th in field goal percentage, tied 20th in three-point percentage, 17th in rebounding, 15th in defensive rebounding. This team is so fucking wild. And there's no way to sit here and confidently tell you that they play this way or they do this thing or they are known for that, because they aren't. They have length, they have good playmakers in Markelle Fultz, Paolo, Franz, Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, good shooters, good defenders. It's just a bunch of guys thrown together, if I'm being honest with you. I'm not sure that the Orlando Magic necessarily had, not that they didn't have a plan, but maybe they didn't have so much of an idea of what approach they wanted to take towards roster creation, whatever. In the past, we've talked about different things, shooting efficiency, play types, lineups. Today we're going to talk about lineups. There were 4 lineups that I wanted to talk about: Markelle Fultz, Gary Harris, Franz, Paolo, and Wendell. Their starting lineup at 466 possessions. Their second lineup: Markelle, Franz, Paolo, Bol, and Mo Wagner at 411 possessions. This is their second most run lineup. Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Chuma Okeke, Bol, and Wendell Carter at 133 possessions was their best defensive lineup. And then Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Bol, and Mo Wagner at 143 possessions. It was just an interesting lineup that I thought I'd bring out. Now, when looking at these lineups, you can start with their starting lineup of Fultz, Gary, Franz, Paolo, and Wendell, and we can talk about the fact that, Markelle Fultz has solidified himself as the primary point guard, as the number one guy in that rotation. He contributes to the team winning massively, whether it's on the defensive end, being in lanes, constantly being in lanes, staying on his man, good perimeter defender overall, just good on the defensive end. And, he's got the height and length to attribute to that. And on the offensive end, Markelle has continued to improve ever since his injury, ever since the unfortunate events that transpired in Philadelphia. Markelle has continued to show us that he is a hooper and he knows how to take advantage of what he has in his bag. And you watch Markelle and, yes, a lot of it has to do with interior penetration and short mid-range shot making, but that just opens up the floor so much for the rest of the guys on the team when Markelle is constantly driving. It is a very entertaining thing to watch. It makes me very happy. You got Franz Wagner, who we'll get into more later, but guy is just overall so sound in his game. Catch and shoot, beautiful. Off the drive, beautiful. Coming off screens, can do that. Cuts, loves that. That little right or left-handed floater off the glass, loves that. Franz Wagner is just such a fun player to watch because, he slices through the defenses in such like an unorthodox way, and he looks different. His game looks different. That's all I can say. And then you got Paolo Banchero. He is a man amongst men. You look at him play, you look at him compete, I should say, and he is not below or at the level of competition. He plays above the level of competition. He constantly is, even if he isn't hitting shots or necessarily on for that day, he's giving his fullest effort on defense. He's fucking 6'11" and 240, so he's gonna drive right through you, and he's gonna get a basket more often than not when he's on the drive or when he's in a post up. He's got the face up moves, he's got the triple threat moves. It's Wendell Carter Jr., another one of those guys where very fundamentally sound in the sense of defensively he doesn't make make a ton of mistakes, and as a rim protector, let's put it this way, he's better than Vucevic, and he's one of those guys who's a good paint protector, a good roamer, good on switches, relatively quick on his feet, and he can shoot. Now, does he airball often? Yeah, but I mean, shit, he's shooting 34% from 3 on 3.5 attempts per game. It's really all you can ask for a 15-point per game scorer at your center position. It's more than what you should ask, 34% is above league average in quality, and you're doing it on 3.5 attempts. Good shit, Wendell. Then you look at lineup statistics, and it gets very interesting. You see with their first lineup, the one we just went over, Markelle Fultz, Gary Harris, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, and Wendell Carter Jr., was at 121.7 points per 100 offensive possessions. Their effective field goal percentage during those 466 possessions was 59.1%. Lineup C, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Chuma Okeke, Bol Bol, and Wendell Carter, was obviously their best defensive lineup, with them being at 98.5 points per 100 defensive possessions and holding their opponents to 43.5 effective field goal percentage. That's pretty fucking impressive. That is pretty fucking impressive. To see, what is that, a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old, maybe 24-year-old, another 20-something-year-old, and then another 20-something-year-old, a bunch of 20-year-olds, and, it's a small sample, but they clamp the fuck up, and 43.5% effective field goal percentage held for their opponents is impressive, and it just proves, the effectiveness, the consistency of Franz Wagner and Wendell Carter Jr., and the, unfortunately, small sample size, but genuine high-quality defense that Chuma Okeke brings on both the perimeter and interior, and Jalen Suggs' continuing progression as a defender. And then you got Bol Bol, who, he's fucking 7'1" and has like a massive wingspan. Like, throw him in your best defensive lineup, he's probably gonna, contribute. And then Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Bol Bol, and Mo Wagner at 143 possessions, small sample size again, but at a 32.7 free throw rate. 32.7. They've got 3 attackers and 1 center who can take it as well to the basket. I don't know, fuck it. Franz's game is just so fun to watch him slice between defenders on his way to the basket. Utilizing a variety of moves to get to his spot, Franz can score at all 3 levels, yet his preference is obviously the mid-range and paint. He was in the 92nd percentile in points over expectation, 98th percentile in stable transition points per possession, 92nd percentile in stable PNR ball handler points per possession, 83rd percentile in stable PNR roll man points per possession, 81st percentile in handoff points per possession, 98th percentile in stable off-screen points per possession, 96th percentile in stable cut points per possession, and the 73rd percentile in stable ISO points per possession. Franz was in the 90th percentile in drives per 75, the 92nd percentile in unassisted rim field goal attempts per 75, the 8th percentile in rim shot quality, and the 98th percentile in rim shot making. As I mentioned before, Franz has a game predicated close to mid-range shot making. He's shooting 48% from the long mid, 48%, and 39% at the short mid, 66% at the rim. That level of finishing right now puts him around the likes of Zach LaVine and Tyler Hero. Now, he was in the 92nd percentile in mid-range pull-up shot creation. He was in the 38th percentile in mid-range pull-up shot quality, and he was in the 95th percentile in mid-range pull-up shot making. Franz exceeds expectations as both a secondary or tertiary playmaker, as well as an off-ball threat. When looking at his playmaking, he was in the 85th percentile in potential assists per 100 passes, the 87th percentile in box creation, and then in off-ball, he was in the 92nd percentile in movement impact per 75, the 91st percentile in movement speed, and the 91st percentile in off-screen share. Franz Wagner has solidified himself as not only a core piece for this team, but also, in a sense, he is the cornerstone for this team. You put the ball in Franz's hands when you need a bucket, you need a play, you need a screen, you run Franz. You can run Franz as the roll man or the handler because he's doing great in both. You can ISO him, which they rarely really do. You can run him off screens, like I said. You can have him cut. You can have him set down screens for other, and then cut off that. Like, there are so many different things that you can do with Franz Wagner, and Franz Wagner can do on the court that allows this Orlando Magic team to do what they do. Because without Franz Wagner's versatility on both the offensive and defensive end, the Orlando Magic are not doing what they're doing and not being as exciting to watch as they are. Because, it's not every single game. It's not the whole games. It's not, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you I've watched every single, 40-something Orlando Magic games. But what I can tell you is the games that I have watched have been very entertaining, very fun. And as long as they can maintain that and a relative sense of competitiveness while they're still in this rebuilding phase, while they're still in this retooling phase, in their post-Vucevic, post-DJ Augustine era, I'm very excited for the Orlando Magic and to see what they have in store for the next coming years. We left out some people. We didn't even talk about Mo Bamba. We didn't even talk about Jonathan Isaac. Left two big names out of there. But, is what it is. What else did we leave out? Shouts out Caleb Houston. Shouts out Terrence Ross. I left out Terrence Ross, Admiral Schofield, RJ Hampton. It's guys on this team that individually are also really fun to watch too. Like I said, Cole Anthony, RJ Hampton can be very fun to watch. Who was that? Terrence Ross can be very fun to watch. Bol is a super fun player to watch. Paolo Banchero is an extremely fun player to watch. Keep that up. Keep that up, Orlando. I don't know. It's chicken wraps.